This week on Business Exposed, we have Ric Wilson, CEO of ERP Experts and multiple business owner.
Ric has had a colourful life. He has experienced lots of different things, and he's travelled all the way up from Nottingham today to share that experience with us.
We've had a lot of fun filming this episode today, and I'm sure you will really enjoy it. As always, if you could like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on and share with as many people as possible that you feel would benefit from the podcast. So as always, sit back, relax and enjoy. First of all, I appreciate you coming up, Ric. It's a bit of a journey, so I do really appreciate the time first of all. But let's go, before we go into where you are just now in your current business, let's go a wee bit back to your kind of, how did you get here, a wee bit upbringing, schooling system, where did you end up? Where did you start, more to the point?
Yeah.
Well, you probably guessed from my accent, it's not local.
Yeah.
So Manchester. I was brought up in Bury, which is kind of Lancashire, I guess, and went to school, did all those things, ended up doing chemistry at Leicester Poly, as it was back then 100 years ago. And it's called something else now, I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
And but after doing that, it was a chemistry degree. I got a really good job in research and started a PhD. But the research, I loved it. It's like molecular Lego. So my job was inventing new drugs.
Right.
And I'd done a sandwich year, so I kind of I was able to get a better job than perhaps I might have been coming from that background. So the company was a really, they're called Merck Sharp and Dome. At the time, they had some research labs in Harlow, which is in Harlow.
Okay.
And
regardless, I don't know where Harlow is anyway, so you could have said anywhere there.
And well, the reason I'm saying that is I'm trying to avoid making comments that are in
All right.
So this place was in Harlow. It was lovely. It was in the country outside the town. Really high security to get in there because it was one of their anyway. Really couldn't have been more stoked about getting a job like that.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Really was chuffed with myself. I still couldn't believe I'd done it. But I got in there, and it just wasn't what the work was great, but the atmosphere wasn't what I thought it was.
Right.
And it was nothing like. It was totally polar opposite than my biotech year out.
Okay.
So this was everybody in here was Oxbridge, and everybody in here the other one was in Oxford, but they're not. But it was totally different. This was young and interesting and fun and vibe. Anyway, I stayed there for about 2 years. Didn't finish the PhD. And then I kind of took a bit of time out and ended up. One of my mates said to me, he was a drug rep, going around for the pharmaceutical, carrying a bag, talking to doctors and stuff. He said, "You'd be brilliant at this." He said, "I feel like I'm chancing it, but you'd be absolutely brilliant." He's on the board of a major drug company in the US now and flying, so he wasn't exactly chancing it.
No.
Yeah.
He's getting something right.
So, but I said, "But," he said, "Come out with me for the day." So I'd go, and I did that for like 12 years, 15 years. Got a job, had a go, carried a bag round, and kind of got taught how to sell, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And it in the old days, 90s, it used to be called need satisfaction selling.
Right.
So because what you're really trying to do is help, and you're trying to provide a solution to someone's problem. But to find a solution, you've got to know what the problem is, and you've got to ask questions, but not interrogate. Mm-hmm. And so you strike up a conversation to find out what's going on. So that, and it was all, and they taught me how to do it. And I had maybe some talent for it. I could hold a conversation and have a chat. Mm-hmm. But because I'd done the research, I used to write I used to write the papers that these guys were reading to see if the drugs were any good. Right. So because I'd written them, I didn't get my name on them because I was so low down in the pecking order. I would never get. You've got to be top 3 out of a team of 20 to get your name on, and I was nowhere near. But I'd still written them. You still write the abstracts, and you still, and you're reading them all the time to learn how to make new drugs, because it's literally inventing new ones. So the job of you might detect a receptor is this shaped.
Right.
And this bit's positive, this bit's negative, and this bit's neutral. So you've got to build something that'll fill that space and bind to it in preference to the thing that binds to it and triggers it.
Right.
So it'll and when you do that, it's preferential binding, which stops the action happening. And that preferential binding is what drugs do. So they bind to a receptor site to prevent the chemical in your body binding. So it's like a lock and a key thing, I guess.
Right.
And the so if you can do that, you can prevent it binding. And if that prevents the problem.
Right.
So when you get taught to think like that through a degree and everything, and I kind of was brought up with not loads of money, loads of love, fantastic parents, but just not. We didn't have loads, and there's a story there as well, maybe for another day.
Yeah.
But the really learned when I look back on things. What I really like doing is fixing broken things.
Right.
Because when I was growing up, I got a lot of pleasure out of mend and make do.
Okay.
I get more pleasure out of fixing a broken bike or a broken skateboard or a broken car than I would out of
Getting
having
a brand
new
new
one.
one.
I'm
Right.
still a bit like that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess along the way, I think what I do with these ERP things is fix broken businesses or improve them. Some of them aren't broken, some of them are.
Yeah.
The ones that I buy tend to need improvement. Let's go with that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fixing broken things or enhancing things that are not that are past the best perhaps or need to be revived or that kind of thing. So I think that's a theme running through everything I've done.
Yeah. I was going to say that
From a young age, by the sounds of it.
Sorry?
From a young age, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, I'm looking back, I was fixing bikes, bush bikes, 8, 9, 10. So
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. I love when you have these conversations, and you're right, there is a theme and a pattern tends to develop when you go. That's why I always start with, let's go a wee bit to the childhood, because then you're right, if you're from a young age, you've been fixing problems and come up with solutions, and ultimately that is the job of an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
really,
is
fixing problems, really.
Mm-hmm.
So so from that business, you've went into sales, the current business you're in. Because when I spoke to you on the phone last week, I came off and I said to Lynn, I says, wait to meet this guy. I says, wait to hear this guy's story, right? Can't wait to meet the guy. I was like, it's so much to talk about. So where did the bit from, that job tend to the current job? Because they're, in no way,
sure.
you're the complete polar ends of the...
Well, then I was working.
Yeah.
So I was working for a drug company, and there was only 2 or 3 along the way. And I'm just thinking chronologically back. So I'm like 20-something, just left a really fantastic job. Spent 3 months on the beach surfing, trying to surf. I was absolutely useless. Messing about with my mates, enjoying the summer. And then this other guy said, the drugs, come and be a drug rep. And I said, okay, well, let's give it a go. Applied, got a job, and there we went. I was good at it. And I was good at it because I was straight.
Yeah.
I didn't try and say, this is the cure for cancer, you need to use it in everybody. I said, well, my background's in chemistry. I used to invent the drugs. And I used to write these clinical papers. So what I've done is I've read them all, and I've highlighted the bits that you need to read, because there's a lot to read here. And I know you're a smart guy. I know you're a doctor, and I know you can read it all, but you haven't got time. So here's the précis, and this was the 90s. Now what you do is you'd say, I've done you a Notion chart. You do something different with AI or ChatGPT or something. But so I said that's what I've done. So And I'd break it all down and say, use this one here, and this one is last line. That's not what they want me to tell you, but that's what I'd do if I was in that seat, having read all the information and having invented the drugs in the first place. And that's a very different sort of angle than most people come in and offer. So
it's an authentic sales.
Yeah, well, it's what I'd do if I was in that seat and having to look at Doris coming in the door with the baggy ankles and a cardiovascular problems, and she's in pain with something else. What would I do? And doctors are diagnosticians. They just when you go in there, and so I did quite well at that for those reasons. And one of the things I think I remember saying this recently was, when you do chemistry, you've got to. So you're inventing this drug, and you're getting. There's quite a lot of visibility to make sure that if you do it and you get a result, somebody else can do it and get the same result.
Right.
So you have to write your notes up really meticulously, and you have to follow a recipe, but you've got to write the recipe because this stuff never existed before. You're inventing it. Now, you might be making, I don't know, a Nutella and pineapple cake, which no one's ever made before, but you've got flour and eggs in there. So you don't just make all the molecules in it. You buy some stuff and mix it together in the hope that it'll make the molecules that you want. But there's a bit of trial and error involved. There's quite a lot of, if you put this with this, you'll make this. But then you've got to, and it's a multi-step process. So you learn a lot about detail. You learn the importance of doing it and documentation and getting it. And I've been doing that for quite a number of years. So when I brought those skills or experiences to sales, so it was just normal to say, well, I did this on this day and did this on this, and plan it all out and do it and make sure I was organised. And it turns out most people aren't like that in sales.
Yeah.
No.
And it turns out that works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it makes it repeatable, which means you can teach someone else how to do it. So taking the lessons from that environment, or from the sort of research and development and sciencey world, and then applying them to something totally different, which you'd think was more charisma-based. Sales is a science. It's not what people think. It's a process.
Yeah.
And you're trying to help someone arrive at a conclusion that you can support. And to do and what people talk about is like features and benefits and things. But the benefits of the feature are different depending on the outcome that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a feature of a product might have 5 benefits, but only one of them is relative to the problem that they have. So just tell them that one. Otherwise you lose them and you lose the impact of that benefit.
Yeah.
And so just some reasonably straightforward things I brought across and did quite well.
Yeah.
Got looked after. I won some awards, won some holidays. It was nice.
Yeah.
I was, and I was 20-something. I had bought a house. It was good.
Always sound like what a lot of people would say would be the pinnacle of your
It kind of was
career.
until then.
Yeah.
But I was miserable.
Right.
Really miserable. Because I felt like I felt like a square peg in a round hole. I felt like I was being asked. I felt like the way I was doing it wasn't the right way. I wasn't happy.
Right.
But I did it for a long time, thinking it'll get better tomorrow, and it didn't really. So how do I get from the 20s to the 50s, and what's happened in between? Along the way, I met a lady called Helen, and now married to Helen.
Wow.
Hi, Hel.
If you're watching.
Yeah, exactly. And we met at a New Year's Eve party. I had just flown in from America because one of my friends was setting up a .com business. So we lived together at university.
Okay.
We left. It was quite a few years later. We all stayed in touch like you do. These are my closest friends because we lived together for 2 or 3 years. And he'd done computer science, and he was in America setting up a .com. And he said, I can't leave, but I'm miserable. Defense coming out to Minneapolis. And I was like, it's minus 40. No, I don't fancy coming out to Minneapolis. I said, Christmas is family time, and my mum and dad, I'll ask my mum, we'll see what she says. She said, well, we know Andy really well. We'll spend some time with him. So I went out, and we had a really good time. And when we came back in on New Year's Eve, and Bruce and Andy, who are my old friends, Bruce was my best man, and it was difficult to choose which one it was going to be. But me and Andy flew in, and Bruce had organised some tickets for this do, and Helen was at this do. It was a party in a gym. It was like a private gym, or like a total fitness type thing.
Right.
But they're having a New Year's Eve party, and everybody got dressed up. I met Helen, and we both felt something was good. In May that year, because we lived 120 miles apart.
Okay.
So in May that year, I asked her to marry me, which is really not. I wasn't expecting any of this.
Yeah.
I had plans, and life got in the way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she. It may not be obvious, but she said yes.
Yeah.
So I tried to move to nearer so we could spend more time together. And Helen's from up Cheshire, and I was living there at the time. I was living in Stockport, which is next place along. And so I said, I'll get a job that means I can work nationwide, and you're living in Leicester in the middle, because that's where we went to college, in Leicester, and she'd stayed there. And I said, then I can work from anywhere, it doesn't matter. I'm basically repping for a drug company. And so I got a national job, and it was really good. I got quite a lot more money, and I'd stayed too long in this role, really. But and it turned out I had, along the way, I'd become a scuba diving guy. So I was diving a lot around the UK. So I'm in my 20s. I've got an £80,000 car. I'm driving down the M5 at 2 a.m. On my way to Portsmouth, so I can get on a boat at daybreak, so we can go diving, because that's what you have to do if you want to do that sport.
Yeah.
Right.
And I got pulled over a lot, and the motorways are empty at that time.
Yeah.
So particularly when you get further out of the major cities, and so I do, whatever speed I was doing, and never anything crazy.
Yeah.
But I got pulled, and I ended up with 3 lots of 3 penalty points inside a year. So in 9 months, I got 9 points because and it was always for doing these sorts of things, going up to Scotland or going down to Portsmouth or Plymouth or Cornwall or wherever, or Wales one time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, at the end of this job interview, all gone brilliantly well. I was really chuffed with myself for getting this job. I felt quite chipper about the whole thing. And they said, I'd signed a contract, everything had been done. And they said, passport, yeah, there you go. Driver's license, yeah, there you go. It's clean, right? I said, they said, it's full. I said, yeah, yes, it's full. I have to drive for a living. It's clean, right? No. What do you mean, no? And they'd never asked me.
Right.
They said, we just assumed you had a clean driving license. I said, well, I haven't. So how many points have you got? I said, 9. When they're going off? I don't know. I got them this year. What for? And he's like, oh my, you didn't tell me this. Anyway, they pulled the job offer.
You're
No
joking.
way.
And they were paying me so much money, I could afford a chauffeur. I said, I'll just pay for a chauffeur. It's fine. I'll buy him a car. I don't,
Yeah.
it's fine. And because I was single, and, and I was good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway, they said no. And I'd been offered 3 jobs. So I went to the other 2 guys, and they said no. So
That's crazy that, somebody who has the skills and attributes to do the job, they
Didn't
wouldn't give them
find
the
a
job.
workaround.
So
This was
go for second
90s.
best for somebody that has a clean license.
it was the 90s. It's literally what happened. I was shocked. I didn't think they'd do it, but they did. And it wasn't, in fairness, it was, these were billion-dollar companies. They still are. They still exist. And they all said the same thing. It's against policy. We're not. I said, well, try harder. Write it into my contract that, something that's a huge penalty in case I get these extra points. And if I do, I've got to pay for my own chauffeur.
Yeah.
And it's my fault.
Yeah.
And also, I had 2 lodgers in my house that paid more than my mortgage.
Yeah.
So I literally, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it didn't happen. But the trouble with that is you get that great opportunity and you're really up for it and you're really excited about it. You've already checked out
Yeah.
of the
Yes.
old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd already checked out because I said to you earlier I wasn't happy. And so meeting Helen and this new phase of my life that I'd suddenly stumbled into by accident, and then getting excited about the new job, and then moving in with Hel, and then spending time together and seeing if this was the one. All that on top of, I don't have to do that anymore as well. And then realizing it wasn't going to happen. It was like I'm not doing that for another 3 years till these points disappear. They said to us, as soon as your points are gone, or even in 18 months, come back and we'll find you something. We want you. I was like.
It's crazy.
So I just said to Hel, I've got this crazy idea. There's a thing, if you're old enough, you'll know there's a thing called a £10 pommy. And it's, do you know what it is?
I've heard people speaking about it. Is this to Australia?
Yeah,
Is
that's it. Yeah. So pommy means, it's an acronym for Prisoner of Mother England.
Right.
So ages and ages ago, they sent a lot of convicts over to Australia,
Yeah.
and that's kind of, I'm not sure of the exact details of the story, but
Yeah.
that's what it is. And in the 50s, they didn't have enough people, and they wanted workers to do stuff, and there was great opportunities out there. But it's a long way to take a punt.
Right.
So they sent boats over and said, give us some money, £10. Maybe it's £10 per family member. I don't know. Give us 10 quid. Jump on a boat, pack a bag. You're not coming back. jump on the boat, and we've got work for you. And post-war Britain or sunny Australia, lots of people went, and they did well.
Yeah, I've got family members that actually went and
well, there you
are
go.
still there from that scheme.
Wow.
And they've not looked back, have they?
No, never came back. Never came back.
It's fantastic when you get out there. There's lots of things that are better.
Yeah. That wouldn't be hard.
It's not. It's different, but a lot of it is different better. Don't forget they've got snakes they've got spiders like this, and they bite you and they kill you. And the ones that bite you and kill you aren't this big; they're this big.
Yeah.
So you can't see them. And they've got snakes and alligators and crocodiles, or whatever it is they've got. But it's a really great place.
So did you and Helen end up out there?
We did. So what I said
Did
to
you
us,
both
the
end up
crazy
going?
idea was, I've got this idea that for our generation, so I was born late 60s, I think New Zealand is our £10 pommy opportunity.
Right.
Let's go and have a look. And she says, what do you mean, let's go and have a look? I said, I've got a house, let's sell it. I'll put the money in the bank. She said, I've just bought a house. I said, we'll rent it out. Let's go and have some fun. Let's go and do it. So we just took the money from the property. I'd done quite a lot of work to the house. So, because when you're brought up with nothing, well, I wasn't brought up with nothing, but when you're brought up with men to make do, then you get handy, or you do without. So I got quite a fair few chances, and I liked it. I'm reasonable. I'm okay with my hands. So done a lot of work to the house, and so sold it for quite a bit more than. So there was money in the house, and it was two smaller houses knocked together. So it was the only one on the street that was like that, and so we sold it for good money fairly quickly. And I gave the money to my friend, whose husband's an accountant for a Swiss firm. And I said, can you look after that? And then when the credit card bills come in, just pay it. And if we run out of money, before we run out, let me know.
Yeah.
And that was what happened. And I said, take this much and put it to one side so we've got something for when we come back. And then I said to Helen, at the time I had a gold card because of my life, I did. And so I said, there's a credit card. I remember doing it. I said, I've got you one of these. You said you were worried about money. If you leave me, I'll give you 3 days to get home, right? Because then I'm going to cancel it. So,
Well, I love that.
exactly. Well, no, we were going one way, and Helen said, look, I don't have many savings. I've just put it all into a house, and now I'm leaving. So there were some practical things to kind of sort about. So I said, don't worry about the money. There's a card. Let's go. We're going to need them on the road anyway. Because don't forget, it was the 90s. There's no mobile phones like you've got now. Anyway, we went and we had a riot, and it was good and bad, and it was up and down. But it was, if you think about the number, we were joined at the hip for nearly 2 years.
Right.
And if you think about the miles you get under your belt and the hours you spend together in that time, where you're often the only people who can speak to each other, because everybody else is intimidated or you're the stranger, because you're a foot taller and the wrong colour. So you stand out. You know what I mean? If you because we didn't just we got a one-way ticket to Bangkok and made the rest up. Not really know, and we didn't have a time to come back. And by then I could teach diving, so if we got a job on a beach, I could always, and we had plenty of money, so it wasn't, but we still lived in backpacking mode.
Right.
Because we wanted the money to last a while. We didn't
as long
want
as
it wasn't a
possible.
holiday.
Yeah.
We just wanted a break. The idea was, I've got 2 years to wait till my license is clean.
Right. Okay.
So
And then you can go back.
I'll go back and get that job, and then we can start again.
Yeah.
Then we'll start where we left off, and we've had some fun. And by now, we've had some good times, some bad times. We've
Learned about
kind
each
of
other.
figured, can we cope with each other?
Yep.
Because I think I'm a handful, and so does Helen. She thinks I'm a handful too.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is that, what you've said there? You've said that may sound quite easy, a decision to do, but you're obviously quite a bit of a risk taker. Is she as much of a risk taker, or is there quite a bit of convincing required to up stick and do that?
I don't think I don't see myself as a risk taker.
Right.
But then you just, we were chatting. I was saying about diving, scuba diving, and the reason I got into it is because I was worried about the sea, and I'm quite a strong swimmer, no problem. I can swim a mile, without thinking, but I wouldn't like to go in a lake at my depth, and even though I could swim across it, I wouldn't. I just something would put me off, and it felt silly, but it was still there. So to deal with it, I learned to dive, to find out what's under the water, find out what the risks are, and. So, same with heights and skydiving. Did the same thing. That didn't have quite such a good ending, but
Okay.
but I still did it.
Yeah.
Right. Helen's the opposite. It was kind of probably why we get on. Helen's quite reserved, quite. I like to lead or to drive forward, and Helen's quite happy to be not in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
But happy for someone else. We're not quite opposites, but we're both not as headstrong as I am, I would say.
Just happy to follow and support.
She's really good at the supporting bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason I can do these things is because Helen does everything else.
See?
Absolutely everything else.
See, the reason we are, with that reaction is because one theme consistently that we found since filming these podcasts is when we speak to guys like yourself, is the really successful guys like yourself all have that same message, is that I would not be able to do what I'm doing if I didn't have the partner that I've got.
100%. And it's not just about doing stuff. I get down, right? And this is hard. These are heavy weights to carry.
Yeah.
And you have to build up to it. You can't, or you shouldn't, just go in the gym and pick up a 100 kilo bench press and think I'll have a go. Don't. You're going to hurt yourself. So you have to kind of work up to it. And so try something and it's going to go wrong. So don't worry about getting it wrong. Just try and get it less wrong next time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ideally aim for right, but don't worry about wrong so much.
Yeah.
And you eventually, I keep saying less bad all the time, or because if you keep saying do your best, I don't think that's the game.
No.
You've got to do the best you can with what you've got right now.
Yeah.
Because
With
if you
what
don't
you know right now as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you know, what you've got around you, just start. And if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. And I didn't get started. I should have got started on my, if you want to call it, entrepreneur journey when I was in my 20s. But I didn't, because I worked out that you need this much money, this much time, this much experience, this much, and what you really need is an ambition.
Yeah.
And just get going.
Yeah.
It's nice if you got a few quid in your pocket, but if you're not and you're resourceful, you'll find out. You'll find out how to keep things going.
Yes.
It's part of the dance you've got to do.
Yeah.
When's a good time to have kids? Never.
Yeah.
So you can't go with that attitude. You just do it and then figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice for anybody that's listening, because I think a lot of people do think that, that they're waiting on something happening, but later never comes. You're always just finding an excuse for I've got to there, I can't do it because of this. Just get off
Waiting
your backside and just do something. And one thing I can, what you said in there, if you don't, it's nice to have a few quid to start. When I started, I had a wee bit of money, nothing crazy, but sold a property and used a wee bit of money for that to get going. But by the same point, one thing I can certainly know that I was thinking this yesterday, actually, is one of my 40s now, because when you come from nothing and you've not got a lot, you then find quite easily you become very good at being able to move money about and be able to borrow money and pay back money and scale.
Just resourceful, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
become
being more
resourceful. But I think that's an advantage. I think if you do start with a few quid, you've always maybe get something to fall back on. Maybe don't take as many, I wouldn't use quite the word risks, but...
It doesn't really push you forward at the same speed.
Yeah.
Because you've got that comfort.
Aye. When we don't have a safety net, you have no option but succeed.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of that. The if you start with something and you start with nothing, what people are often frightened about what it'd be like to have nothing. And I understand that. It's not great. All right. I've had something and I've had nothing. And I know which I preferred.
Yeah.
Oh, every day, all day.
But when you've had it, and then you've got yourself out of it, then you know how to do it again. So if it did happen, then you know what you did last time, and it might be a different colour of red you have to do this time, but it's still probably a red answer. The world's not changed that much. So you've got the learning and the experience of what you did last time to get here to do again if it did all go wrong. Yeah. That doesn't mean you can be cavalier and take risks. Although people who know me probably think I probably do that. I don't. I think I just back myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think I know what I can do and I know what I can't do, and I just back myself.
Yeah.
And I try and mitigate the risks. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes not so much. But I one of the phrases I find myself, when my kids were growing, the kids are 21 and 23, right? They both just, because of the degrees they did and how it all played out, they both just finished at the same time.
Okay.
So we've been to 2 degree ceremonies in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
One
Wow.
in Bristol, one in Sheffield. And when the kids were little, I wanted to find a way to say, make your own mind up, but give them a better framework than make your own mind up. You're 9, come on, figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how helpful is that? And so I came up with this, what you're going to regret more, trying and failing or not trying. And I ask myself that 3 times a day. And nearly always in my world, it's I'll regret more not trying. But there was one time recently when actually the answer was I'd regret trying and failing. And it was to do with our home. I needed to leverage it, and I wasn't comfortable with the risk. So when people say this is easy, yeah, but if you need £500,000 to do something, and you need to leverage your home again, my homes, that was in the old days. I've had to do those things, not so much anymore. But you go back to all that, and then it's an easy piece of paper to sign.
Yes.
But suddenly, as soon as you've signed it, that paper weighs 1,000,000 tons.
Yes.
You can't sleep at night, and so it's not just you carrying that 1,000,000 tons.
Yeah.
It's everybody,
Yeah.
kids, Helen, everybody,
Yes.
parents maybe as well. It's everybody. So it's so yeah. No, because if I did fail in that, and no, it was too much.
Yeah.
The cost of the opportunity was too much.
Yeah.
I probably could have leveraged something else or gone into partnership and done something else with somebody else. I just chose not to take the opportunity. So
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to note, because I think, when a lot of people do talk about the risk, in my kind of wee head, there's 2 versions of a risk. There's one that's like a stupid risk, which I would just say somebody's gave you an opportunity and you just go, oh, it's an opportunity, so just take it. But as you mentioned earlier on, if you've done all your due diligence and you either get to it's a risk worth taking or it's not worth taking, you've done everything before that. At that point, that's when the decision's a risk or not. It's not really a risk at that point in time, because a lot of the things that then become risky are out with your control anyway.
Yeah.
Other as we mentioned before, we were kind of filming about when you're owed money, and a lot of companies go under because they're owed money from other sources, but that's a bit that's also without your control at the start. So I think a lot of elements that people think are risky are not really. They're just kind of other elements that are risky out with the risk, if that makes any kind of sense, know.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. When you're saying, there's some people who say they'll get an opportunity and they'll just say yes or no. You've said that you'll sit and you'll do your due diligence and decide if it's a risk.
Oh no, I work
it out. Some people wouldn't do it. At that point, there's no really as much a risk involved, because you've been clever with the risk and assessed the risk of going wrong or not wrong.
I think the thing that comes with wrinkles and grey hair is kind of prudence, I guess, and the also because of what I've been doing for this ERP thing that I do now, I've been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
What that is, what an ERP system is, because nobody ever knows, is it stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. And it's basically, if you think about your business, you've got some kind of marketing. So you tell people what you do. I also made this up for the kids because I wanted them to do what does ERP mean? What does it do? Who needs one of them? I've never heard of it. What's that all about? I said, look, businesses do 5 things. So this became like a meme in our house. Me standing there with my hand like this, the kid laughing at me. And every time they want to get me, they do this kind of, even now, like I do this thing with my eyes where I go like that. I've never noticed. So if they want to wind me up, they're like,
yeah.
But there was this 5 thing. I said, look, you tell people what you do. You ask them, do they want one? You give it to them. You ask them for some money. Pay your suppliers as well. And he said, was that nice? Do you want another one? As that's kind of what a business is. Yeah. That's it. 5 things. What are they? And after the 100th attempt at getting it, they got it right. I asked them again a week later and they've forgotten. But now they know what it is. So if you want to start a business, where do you need to start? What's the most important one?
Marketing.
Why? Yeah. So here's a question. All right, and this is again something that I learnt along the way, and this isn't my thing. This is from a friend of mine called Peter, who got me with this a long time ago, 20 odd years ago. But he said, "What's the hardest thing in business?"
I would say letting people know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If nobody knows what you're doing, if you've got the best product and the best business in the world, but if nobody knows what you're doing, there's no end user to buy the product.
There's
I
no
also think there's also probably been, without going down a rabbit hole here, what you mentioned about in marketing, there's probably this is probably the best time to be alive in terms of being able to market a product, because we were speaking this the other week, and you'll have first-hand experience. When I think about it now, because it's before my time, also go 20 years ago, it must have been quite hard to sell a product, right? Whereas right now,
television and radio.
Right now, you can really be a nobody, right? But if you know how to work the algorithm on social media, which is free, then you can put yourself or your product out to the world quicker than you'll have ever been able to
100%.
put out there.
And I'm aware of that is the case.
Yeah.
But I'm still living in the Stone Age when it comes to all this.
Yeah.
So I'm getting young things to come in and kick me and tell me that I need to do it and encourage me in a positive way to help me get on board.
Yeah.
The thing about the 5 things is, so in order to be an ERP consultant, which you need to do to be able to help sell these things, really, right? You need to understand finance, and I thought I did.
Mm-hmm.
When I set up my first company, when I left the drug industry I was early 30s, mid-30s. So we came back from traveling. I went back to the drug companies, and then hated it.
Did you get your job after the 2?
I got a similar job.
Similar
job with the same guy, but that job wasn't available, so I got a similar one. But I just wasn't me. And also, I just spent 2 years doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
So what I'd learned was paddling my own canoe is for me, for sure. Just for the record, New Zealand is not our £10 pommy opportunity.
No.
It wasn't. It was great for some things, and it was interesting. Really amazing trip. But anyway, back in the real world, we said, right, now we're engaged. So we came back home to get married and settle down and have a family. And we were either going to settle over there or over there. And we had the choice because of what we do. Mm-hmm. So we could have settled in New Zealand or in Australia. We preferred Australia. And we chose the UK. I know.
Crazy.
Well, it was to do with family.
Yeah, of course.
There's lots of reasons why.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a no-brainer decision. In fact, what we actually did, and this is, we said we need to decide where we're going to live. So let's go and sit on the beach for a bit. Anyway, 2 months later, we still sat on the beach and we still hadn't decided. And we talked about it every day.
Yeah.
And we had pros and cons. So anyway, we did that, and then we flew home, and so and it was the right call. It was fine. I think we'd have had regrets about the sunshine over there, and we'd have had regrets about the family if we come here. And I still think it was the right call.
Of course.
So, trying to think where I was up to, where I was going with that.
The 5 things.
Oh, right.
5 things. Moving back, where the business started.
Yeah.
So the if we go back to the 5 things, you have to. When I set up on my own, because I was generating work, and because I'd have done the chemistry thing, I kind of thought I knew how to run a business. And sometimes you get involved in legal issues, and so I just got involved in a whole bunch of things. And latterly, inside the drug companies, I got involved in CRM systems, and they were quite big and powerful systems. So I was doing some projects around that, and so I kind of thought I knew how to run a business, and I kind of thought, how hard can it be? So let's have a go. And I'd read something that said, it's not about doing your best, it's about getting started. And then I read something else, and I was terrible because of the planning and everything you have to do in the chemistry side to invent something. And because you've got to make it repeatable and the detail you require, I was very much about planning and all. And the best thing you can do is not get too bogged down in that. Just start. And so I read something. I think it was something Napoleon Hill wrote in one of his books, or maybe it wasn't that one, but it was do the best you can with what you've got right now. So don't put off starting because you haven't got all the right starting materials. Just get going. If you want to get to India and you haven't got enough money for an airline ticket, start walk. It's that way.
Yeah.
Get going.
Start walking.
Just get going. What do you mean? Well, it's cheaper if you go to the next bus stop.
Yeah.
And then it's cheaper again if you get to the next country. So just get going. How badly do you want to get there? And it's kind of that mentality, which I was saying, well, I'd rather just work here and save up and get the airline ticket and then get there. Well, yeah, you'll find yourself in a year, you're still here.
Yeah.
And so just get walking. It only takes 9 months to walk there. So, that sort of mentality. But I didn't realize that. I wish I'd realized that in my 20s, not my 40s. But there you go. So one of the things I learned, the thing I wanted to say was about learning finance, I think, and it was all this is going around the house about what you were saying before. In order to do what I do now, you need to understand all the elements of a business, inside out, back to front, upside down, so you can work out what's wrong and then work out and help the business solve the problem of this isn't working. The main reason things don't work in businesses that we find anyway, and so these are like businesses that are beyond startup, so they're not 0 to 1 million. They're probably 5 million to 300 million, that sort of size. Maybe 5 to 100. It depends on what they do and what size. But the main thing that's wrong is they can't get a single version of the truth out of the business. So you say the goal of the thing that you're trying to do is to do more of what works and less of what doesn't. That's it. All you're trying to do is work out what works. What does works mean? Well, it might mean solve that problem. It might mean make some profit. You decide what works is defined as. It's your business. Usually it's profit.
Yeah.
You want to work all year and have something left at the end. So if we go with profit for now as being the reason as a definition of what works, then you're trying to make more profit by doing more of what works. Okay. So let's look at how we do that. So you spend some money on marketing, right? Oh, I know where we're going. We've gone all around the houses, and I never answered the question. We never finished the question up about the what's the hardest thing in business. So that's kind of how it's all come back.
Yeah,
full circle.
circling back.
Yeah. So what's the hardest thing in business? You mentioned some things, and I think the answer I like is was in what you said. Should I tell you the answer, or do you want to?
You go for it.
Yeah. The hardest thing in business is finding a customer.
Yeah.
Because you've got to go from a position of zero trust to 100% trust, so they'll spend money with you. And that's about the hardest thing for people to do. I don't trust you, so I'm not going to give you anything. And you've got to get across that Rubicon. You've got to get across that divide. And so salespeople are more important than people think because that's what they're actually doing. And if you've got the best product in the world, but it's not aligned to the if you're not satisfying the needs of the person who's buying it, then they're not gonna buy it.
Yeah.
Often what you can do is you can introduce them to this product, and then they'll go and buy it from somebody else because they explained it better. So it's kind of important that you get this bit right.
Yeah.
But I was shown how to do this really well, and I got 10 years to practice it while somebody else was paying the bills.
Right.
So when I look back at the skills I need every day now, it's kind of those, really.
Right.
There's loads of stuff I've learned along the way, but it's those. So if the hardest thing in business is getting a customer, what's the second hardest thing?
Making them buy it?
Well, that's what getting a customer is.
Right, okay.
But you're on the right line. So what's the second hardest thing?
Selling it.
That's what getting the money is. So
Right.
that's the same thing. Just really common sense. What would you say?
I don't know, manufacturing. That depends on what the product is. Manufacturing the product.
So forget all the
Right, okay.
things, because it could be a service business, it could
Right,
be
okay.
a manufacturing, it could be assembly, it could be anything, right? The
Funding the
hardest thing in
product?
business. Sorry.
Funding the product.
No. Again, that's just a
Okay.
business. So the hardest thing is getting a customer. We all agreed that. Second hardest thing, keeping them.
Ah,
That's what I mean, simple, right?
That's what we talk about all the time as
Yeah,
well as loyalty.
we're too busy still at the start
I'm
there.
still
You're right. You're way
thinking,
past that. We've sold it now. Yeah. So the light bulb came on there because I remember part of your 5 things there you said at the end there.
Yeah, customer service thing.
Yeah.
So if you think about it so what you're trying to do is you're trying to instill confidence in someone to have the confidence to work with you and your team, and then you've got to deliver on your promises. So you need to be able to do what you're saying on the tin, bronze seal. You know, I keep meaning to take a drink out of this because I keep getting a frog in my throat. And I've not twisted it off.
You better stop for a water break.
If I take this off, it's going to go all over me.
No, you're all right.
It's not been snapped.
Worst case scenario, we'll edit it out. It's happened to me before, so. It's funny, when I was actually driving here, I thought to myself, I stopped to get something to eat in the car, and I thought to myself, it's just as well you've got to change your clothes in the back because if you drop something here, you've got a problem.
Exactly, on a white t-shirt.
Yeah.
Disaster. It's what we talk about all the time as well as customer service and keeping the customer. How did we not get that, Alan?
I don't know. Because you're right, we're too
Ridiculous.
busy thinking about the actual sales process.
Yeah, and starting a business and all the things it is that you need. Right.
But if you've got to, well, we can talk about so what these systems that we build, use, customize, whatever what we use, they're called ERP systems. But what they do is they take all the individual separate systems in your business and replace them with one. So you go with marketing, sales, project management, finance, customer service, whatever the systems are. You might have more time tracking systems, whatever it is, HR, and they replace that with that. And the reason it's important is that you get multiple versions of the same information in your business when you have different. So when you have department management systems, there's overlap in the information. And sometimes, so in your marketing system, Dave Smith goes on your website and he puts his name in Dave Smith. But when he's at work, he's David.
Right.
So he puts David Smith when he goes in, and it's a different address because it's being delivered. So now you've got 2 Dave Smiths, but it's the same guy, and it's got a different address. So there's no way of knowing it's the same. And then he buys something from work, but he also buys something on his personal credit card delivered to his house. So now you've got the same customer, the same person, the same experience, doing 2 different things.
Right.
The way that information should be created or compiled or used is David Smith, also known as Dave, with one record, but 2 separate addresses or multiple addresses. And it often isn't when you've got department-based systems. It isn't. So in your marketing system, it lives twice. But then in your CRM system, or in your order management system, or in your warehouse management system, or in your finance system, he only bought from one of those. Let's say he only bought from one of those. So you've got a lead or a prospect in one system that never went through the chain, and so never got into any of the other systems. And then you've got somebody who's bought something in this system. So you end up with different versions of the truth in these systems throughout the business. And when that's one client with one customer and one lead and it doesn't matter. You can figure that out. When you've got 2,000, it's a mess. And so what you're trying to do in business, if we're going with more of what works and less of what doesn't, what you're trying to do all the time is say, I want more of that bottom line stuff. It's good, this. Well, that's the game. And the only levers I can pull here is this stuff here called overheads. So if you think of P&L, money in, costs, net gross profit, overheads, net profit. And there's EBITDA and all these other things, but let's just keep it dead simple. We've got revenue, we've got costs, we've got overheads, and we've got bottom line. And for the purposes of this, we're just going to say the wages are overhead, because otherwise it gets complicated.
Yeah.
So you can only really audit your overheads once a year. You can't keep going back to your suppliers every week and say, come on, try harder. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your suppliers. So you do it once a year, once every 2 years. You're their customer, so don't beat them up too much. Otherwise, they're not going to, you want a good relationship. But it's prudent to do that. But you can only do it a few times. You can't do it all the time. The costs from your other suppliers, so the things that you buy to sell, the cost of goods sold, you can't really beat them up that much either. So, you can play one off against the other, but generally the more you buy from one guy, the better discount you'll get. So there's all those rules to think about. So you can't really fiddle with this much either. So you've got relatively fixed costs, and once you've optimized them, relatively fixed overhead. And the number at the bottom, so it's plus, minus, minus. And you're trying to make this number at the bottom as big as possible.
Yeah.
So the only other lever you can pull is the revenue one. So, okay, we'll do that then. So how do you make more revenue? Well, that comes back to what you said before about the marketing. And what you find when you try and say, well, so how did you find that? Let's work out what your most profitable line is. Oh, I know what that is. Okay, great. What is it? And they'll tell you it's this. I say, okay, so when you factor in your marketing costs, the pipeline length, so how long it took you to close that deal, and how many lunches and how many meetings, how many Zooms, how many physical meetings, how much petrol, how many hotels you had to spend on getting that meeting across the line. Then you look in the cost of the product, then the cost of the shipping and the cost of everything, the landed cost from China, all of this. You're telling me that the money you spent on the marketing campaign to generate this lead, to close this deal, to do that, that's your best one. Yeah, absolutely, that one. Right, brilliant. Prove it. Who do you think you are? This is how I started out 20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Prove it. Prove to me, first of all, how much was the marketing campaign? Well, I don't know. Well, you can't prove it then,
I
can
can't
you?
prove it.
And what does it cost? Well, we buy them for this and sell them for that. I said, okay, is there a landed cost? What does that mean? Well, it means, did you buy it from China, and did you have to hold it in the port, and are there extra duties to pay in the port before you can release it? Well, yeah, obviously. Well, have you factored them in? And so you start to pick holes. You're not picking holes. You're just explaining what's happening. And so the advantage you've got is everybody in your business is doing a great job, but they're focusing at department level. And what you want is an answer across the whole business.
Yeah.
So you need a system that joins it all together. And it's not as simple as just having a report, because for the sake of brevity, it isn't. So what the clever guys on the planet have done is built these new systems called ERP that just do it. And the main thing they have behind them is, instead of having a database for each system, there's just one system with one database, and all the data goes in it. And when you've got that, you end up with a single version of the truth.
Right.
And then to find out what works and what doesn't, you just press a button.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. Why doesn't everyone use one? Because they're not cheap. They're not 40 quid a month. They're $1,000 a month, starting at.
Yeah.
And if you're a big company, they can go to millions a month. So, but is it the way forward? 100%. So, but if you're going to go into that game, there's no point in sitting in front of a group CFO on a business turning over 130 million and saying, you're doing it wrong, son. And whilst that's the conversation I need to have, I'm not an accountant. But the arguments that I'm able to provide and the evidence from our other client bases or my own experience is, even though I'm not an accountant, I'm able to have discussions with these guys, and they're happy to, they have the problem.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing is saying, this is how it fixes it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting and fun. And all this is coming back to these 5 things that I was, telling you with the kids and that before. And what I was able to develop over, I've been doing this 20 odd years now. So, and it's not just me. I have a team of people who do this, because we offer a solution, but then that solution needs implementing. Yeah. And that job takes 3 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Not easy.
That's a question I was going to ask. So when you've then, the client's now purchased the product, then, where does the journey from you guys start from that point in time in terms of implementation? Because presumably, obviously, it's with different businesses, the setup of the system is going to be
totally different.
Totally different. Almost,
it's the same thing.
Would bespoke be the right word to say to the client, or
it's effectively what you've got is a box with 1 million switches in, maybe 5 million switches in, and we can make our own switches if we want.
Right.
And so what the trick to it is getting the right combo of switches on and off.
Yeah.
Right.
To make it work for you.
Okay.
There's the box, it's over there. Here's your login details. Off you go. What have I got to do? You just got to switch on the right combination of switches to make it work for you. off you go. And it takes a long time to learn. It just does. Right?
Yeah.
You say to the accountant will switch it on, but they'll switch on the accounting functions the way they want them to work, but then they'll break the CRM functions.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the project management systems won't be activated. So the gross margins on the jobs, so they'll have gross margin in the P&L, but per job won't be switched on.
Yeah.
So you've got to know it all. You can't do a bit. And there's a real job out there called an ERP consultant where these people learn this. That's
Right.
And when I was growing up, that didn't exist. These guys, well, I'd never heard of it. I became one because I was nosy, and because I like fixing broken things. So I wanted to learn, and I liked getting down into the detail. So I basically got one, took it to pieces, played with it, and learned how to do it all backwards.
Yeah.
Really wouldn't encourage anyone to do that.
No.
That's like the hardest way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any different, and I wanted to have a go.
Yeah.
So kind of, you were asking me about how I got here.
Yeah.
I know we're going all around the houses, but
Yeah.
that's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, but it's interesting though, because you said earlier on, there's all the bits of the jigsaw. We kind of said on the phone we spoke last week, there's a lot of bits of the jigsaw that lead up to where you are just now, because there wouldn't have been one day you just woke up and went, I'm going to do this.
No.
There's a million different bits, and probably where you are in 10 years from now will be completely different. There's a million bits of the jigsaw that add up to where you are
I think
at any present time.
It is one stream running through it. A long, I can't remember when, but a long decades ago, I read something that said that explained what financial independence was. So I thought that what I wanted to do was to make decisions that weren't based on what I could afford. I wanted to do the right thing, and it might have been the cheapest thing. It might not. But I didn't want to make decisions limited by resource.
At least you have that flexibility.
Well, just do what I wanted, not what I could afford.
Yeah.
And so I started looking. I said, well, and I didn't have the words, and there was no Google, and there was no ChatGPT. So you kind of had to go to the library and figure it out. But it turns out that's called financial freedom, financial independence. How do you get true financial freedom, financial independence? That means that you make decisions based on what you want the outcome to be, not what you can afford the outcome to be. And that's how I started considering paddling my own canoe.
Yeah.
And even when we were traveling around the world, we went to Australia, went to Bangkok, but then went a really weird way around Asia to get to Australia, with the premise that we get to New Zealand by New Year's Day on 2000.
Right.
So when the sun came over on the first part of the mainland, on the very eastern part of New Zealand, in a place that, and the name will come back to me, it's a small place it's the most eastern mainland point in the world. They did this massive, splendid display of Maori and New Zealand culture, and it was amazing. But we got there on that day, and we planned our whole trip around being there for that.
Wow.
Just as a thing.
Yeah.
So we're kind of headed in that direction. So let's get to Bangkok. That's near enough for now. And we gave ourselves a year to get there, or more, a year and a half to get there. And it was great. It'd be interesting watching this back, because I'm wondering what the thread is going through all this. I'm losing myself. I've kind of forgotten what I was saying immediately before the beach in New Zealand.
Aye. If it comes back to you,
Yeah,
if it comes back to you, then just
let you know.
tell me straight away before we forget again. Before we were kind of filming and we kind of spoke last week, we had mentioned that this is an almost new world to you in terms of putting yourself out there and in social media, and it's something I've been thinking about recently. And I forget his name actually. To be honest, I wouldn't actually want to pronounce it, but he's a CEO of Lamborghini, and I noticed that he's doing pretty much what you're doing just now, right? Is, let's be honest, the job of a CEO generally, you would never have seen who they are.
No.
You'd maybe know the name if you want to research or make a complaint and start going through the directors list and who's the CEO and the CFO. You'd never know who they are. They're just a name in the background. Whereas, we're seeing now that businesses, because of this personal brand, is so important now that
They're getting pulled forward.
Yeah, you're actually the CEO is actually probably more of a foot soldier now, in the sense of the forefront of the business, and whereas before maybe the bottom guys at the bottom were in the front of the business, and the CEO was maybe kind of hidden at the back making the big decisions. But it's almost flipped in its head in now in terms of the social media marketing point of view.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, I know your opinions. We said it off the camera, right? But you can repeat it for the camera. I mean, where are you at in that transition period? Because it is, this job of a CEO now is completely different to where it would have been when you started.
It's exactly as you've laid out, and because I'm the kind of guy that, or it seems, looking back at what I've done and how I've done it, that okay, well, I need to overcome this, so let's just get on with it.
Yeah.
Rip the plaster off, sort of thing. I've been saying I'm going to do this for a long time because I'm totally uncomfortable with it.
Yeah.
You guys are lovely. This is quite good fun.
Yeah.
But the anticipation of watching it back and what's going to come back at me after doing it is no. I'm not looking forward to that at all.
Yeah.
But it needs doing, and I've tried to get other people to do it, and either there are people that want to do it that are the wrong fit, or the people that might be able to do some of it don't want to do it. And if you're going to lead, you don't lead from the back. You got to do it from the front.
Yeah.
So here we are. So and that is kind of the way I do things. One of the things I say at work is, if someone's firing bullets at you, put me in the way. Right? I'm bulletproof. Honestly, don't worry. It'll just bounce off me. But you don't get paid enough, and it's not your remit to have people shouting at you. They can shout at me all they want.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So it's even more of a shock if it does.
Yeah.
And generally it's somebody having a bad day. It's like a client having a bad day and they need to vent somewhere, and you've been the unlucky one. But what we do is very civilized. It's not. It's quite geeky. It's civilized. It's not not people shouting at each other. But so put me in the way and I'll deal with it. And along the lines of, if you're happy with what you've done, tell your friends, and if you're not, tell me. That kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the social media, I have a Facebook account. I've had it for a decade, 15 years, whatever, however long. I got one originally and just thought, this is terrible. I don't ever want to use this again. It causes more problems than it solves.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Don't use it. Instagram, what's this? Snapchat, I still don't really know what it is.
Yeah.
Why do you want a picture that disappears?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I always think the same thing in terms of Snapchat. Something that's always on my mind is that why would I ever trust anybody that would want an app that deletes messages
Straight away
after himself?
I just don't get the whole thing. But I'm a phone guy.
Yeah.
So, if I want to speak to you, I'll pick up the phone, I'll
Pick
ring
up the
you.
phone, yeah.
And if you don't answer me, I'll ring you again.
Yeah.
And again. And maybe after a bit I'll get the message, but it'll be a bit. I won't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And generally the people I want to ring, I've got my phone number in the phone and they know it's me. And because it's me, they'll pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's unusual I don't get the phone answered. So it's even, if it does happen, it's like kind of a rib rat to a bull, really. So I think what it is it's like anything you do when you're new.
Yeah.
Right? There's all these people out there who appear really, really accomplished at it and really know what they're doing. And I'm just doing what I'm doing. I've learned a lot over the last kind of 30 years. So, and I think there's one thing I do enjoy more than anything else, it's the learning new things.
Yeah.
Right.
And then building on what you've already got. So, you get a job, you get good at it, do another job. The kind of men fix a skateboard, then fix a bike. It's like the advert for the Navy. If you can fix a skateboard, then you can fix a bike. If you can fix a bike, you can fix a car. If you can fix a car, you can fix a tank. And if you can fix a tank, you can fix a boat or a big warship thing. It's kind of like that. You're building on, it's still nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
Or electronics or whatever, it's still that. So I kind of like that still now today. And so this is just another thing to learn. It's another set of toys to play with, another thing to learn. It's just it feels like it's in a different pond that I've never swum in before. I'm used to salt water, and this is plain water. It's a bit different. Feel exposed, uncomfortable, but then I think it's because it's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
And I'm not very practiced at it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get any better with that. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So
Just it's just like everything else. When you do something new for the first time,
You feel awkward.
We're
it's
all,
alien, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can remember it. In fact, I remember the first podcast that I done was Paul McFadden, and I remember the first time. Then I realised just a conversation. Just the way we're just sitting right now. If the cameras weren't here, we'd still be conversating in the same manner. But by the same point, going back to the point that's relevant is it's almost a must now in business. You know, because back to the trust thing, it's putting the leader of the business out there that you know the company's trustworthy. Because right now, if you're not, how do you build trust with somebody, a big brand, when unfortunately if you're not, you know,
The
putting
front
yourself
face
out
of
there
it.
now.
I
Unfortunately, that's how we are in the world of social media. Unfortunately,
I still don't really understand why.
yeah,
Because I look at the decisions I make for the things I buy, and I don't tend to buy that much. So
Yeah.
I guess I'm not the tip. You know, I don't go to the shops and buy food. So, and I eat the same things every day because
yeah,
I kind of eat the same things every day at the same time, and then I stop eating them, and I want a complete change.
Yeah.
But I'll eat that for months.
yeah.
You know, I'm not.
There must be a type, because that's like two of my children. They'll eat the same thing.
Yeah.
They'll find something they really like, and they'll want it every day
Yeah.
for ages. And then
I
just
never want
want-
to see it again.
then they never want
Yeah.
to see it again.
I don't mind. I'll come back to it for sure.
Yeah.
But it's
in maybe a
but it
year's
drives
time
my
or
wife
something like
nuts.
that. Yeah. It's
And
weird.
clothes. Einstein did this famous thing. Why do you all dress the same? Why waste energy making decisions I don't need to make?
Yeah.
I've even done that because I do
Yeah.
like trying to. So if you, one of the things that I've learned, if you like learning Kaizen, which is continuous improvement, I'm running out of time. So everybody is,
Yeah.
but the longer you've been going, the more you realize it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and there's still a lot I want to do. So you try and make the things you're doing more efficient,
Yeah.
which is why I like these systems so much, because they're like the mankind's efficiency distilled into one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just a bit tricky to put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once you've got it, you'd never be without it.
Yeah.
And so if you're trying to, I buy certain clothes from certain places because they fit me, and I can just buy them.
Yeah.
I don't need to try them on. It's a mess about.
We're wasting time and
And then I buy certain colours because I know I don't have that many.
Yeah.
I don't need them. I wear V-neck t-shirts every day, and I wear like a zip cardigan thing and a pair of jeans and a pair
Yeah.
of, you know, like these sort of things, because I don't need to wear a suit anymore.
Yeah.
No one cares,
yeah.
and that's what's easy. And there's a wardrobe of those things, so it's just put the next one out. It's just easier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then taking that, the way I brush my teeth,
It's systems, isn't it?
it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, maybe I do have OCD.
But the thing, you know, so the amount of people have said that to me, I think you've got OCD, and you know, somebody said it to me because, like, when I'm highlighting something, it's something so simple. When I highlight something, like, it needs to be like in the box and like perfect. I don't want it out the box and that. And you've got OCD, and the person was genuinely says, I mean, well, because I just like something to be neat, meticulous, presentable.
Doesn't
that
have
means
to have a
I've-
label.
I need to be labelled because I just want something to look good.
So-
It's back to me. That's a personal standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your standards are there, why would you let your standards slip across the board of anything you do? You know you're doing life.
Well, there's a famous one from, if you watch Formula One, Ron Dennis was the guy behind McLaren in
Right.
their successful times, and they learned at McLaren that. I mean, maybe all engineers know this. I don't know, and it's a story. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
but I like it.
Yeah.
When you have a nut, they're hexagonal shape, like your lights, right?
Yes.
So there's two measurements on a nut. There's across flats, which is the measurement from the flat side to the flat side,
Uh-huh.
and then there's across corners, which is
Yes.
the measurement from one corner to the opposite corner.
Right.
And the across corner, AF and AC, those numbers are different.
Okay.
One's bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you can when you're lining a nut, you can it depending on how thick what the nut's tightening up to is, and depending on the number of threads on the bolt and the thickness of the washer and the thickness of the substrate you're tightening up, you can calculate what position the nut will be in. And whether will it end up when it's tight
Where
at the
it's
right
tight.
top?
Right. Okay.
Will it end up as being AF or AC?
Okay.
And what that means in English is when you've finished and you've done it and you've finished, will the nut be like that or like that?
Yep.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah,
will
yeah.
the flat bit be up,
Yeah.
or will the pointed bit be up?
Right.
And what they learnt was in McLaren, as the story goes, is if you put the nuts like that, so the corner is, so it's basically horizontal.
Yeah.
More dust settles on it. And that dust corrodes the nut sooner.
Oh.
And therefore it's an inefficient way of doing it. Whereas if you put it across corners like that, then less dust settles. It still does. And it's to do with static forces and dust and lots of other things, but they worked this out. And every time he saw a nut in the factory that was this, he found the person who'd done it and said, "You know that's bad. You don't need to work here anymore." Now, whether that's what happened, then I don't know.
Yeah,
but you get the idea.
Yeah.
We know what right looks like, so why are you doing it wrong?
Yeah.
And that's like, I know what right looks like. Why don't you just do it right?
Yeah.
And I'm quite like that.
Yeah.
That said, my paperwork's anybody doing this who has to.
It's all wrong.
It's not done on time.
Yeah.
I in the old days I was meticulous about it, and now it's the bottom of the list, and
Yeah.
I'm a bit rubbish.
Yeah.
It's that going back to the prioritise the priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's a priority, but
Yeah,
you just need to prioritise them.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Try and work out what's urgent.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think so if you look at it in kind of lumps, go from having a job, getting good at that, and then having a business and making that work, and then this phase is now more about buying businesses. And I decided that the types of business I wanted to buy were ones that could benefit from everything else I've learned.
Okay.
And so if I can find a business that's for sale, and most businesses are for sale at the right price. So if you're looking for a business for sale, don't look at the businesses for sale.
Right.
And that sounds kind of crazy, but they've got very, very preconceived ideas about what the business is worth.
Yes.
Right.
And when
And they're selling it at a time that's right for them, not specifically a time that's right for you buying.
yeah,
Probably.
very much, but also they're usually up with an agent, and the agents have put ideas in people's heads about what those businesses are
What it's
worth
going to be worth.
based on fictitious criteria, because the agents never actually bought a business. So, all right, well, if you think that's what it's worth, you buy it. The
Yes.
business is worth what someone will pay for it.
It sounds like dealing with an agent, the property world, that's put
100%.
the
Yeah.
preconceived ideas of what something's worth.
Yeah,
On a home report.
Yes.
totally. Well, we've looked at you the last 3 years, and we reckon that if we average it out and we do this, this person's worth £10 billion, because they get a commission
Yeah.
based on the figure.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it isn't. So, and so I started a few years ago to learn. I built my first business 10 years ago. It was a relatively easy one to buy, and because it was sticking to my knitting. It was a business that did something like I do, so it was easy. And now I've got there's a bunch of us, and we started buying businesses together. So there's 5 of us in this little consortium. We started buying businesses together, and that's become really good fun.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not without risk, and it's not unscary. But there's 4 other smart guys to bounce off, and we bought 3 businesses this year, and the type of businesses I favour are ones that can benefit from that stuff.
Right.
So if I put one of these in, will it help?
Yes.
Why? Well, it's another sale for that company, which is helpful for me.
Yeah.
It also means that when I'm working on this company, I'm an expert at this now. For
Yeah.
20 odd years, you'd hope so.
Yeah.
So if I put it in, I know everything works. So it's a bit like I've got my own control panels and everything in it. I just know how it works. So if anybody gets stuck, I can show them how to do it. It's dead easy for me.
Yeah.
And these are world-class systems. So they're very powerful, and they really do enhance the value when you come to exit. Part of the reason, one of the benefits for having these things in place is when you come to if you think about, there's only really 2 ways you can exit a business. You sell it, or you die in it,
Yeah.
or you set fire to it because it went bust. But that's not selling. That's not exiting it. That's it dying. So whilst the businesses are going concern, you either die in it and somebody inherits the shares, or you sell it. There's not really anything else you can do. And if you want to sell it, then you really want to put a new kitchen and a new bathroom in first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what sells houses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it's a commercial property, then there'll be things in commercial properties I don't understand that sell those.
Yes.
Right? So in businesses, what sells businesses isn't what people think. It's provable demand generation, which is driven by systems. So if you've got an efficient business that can prove the demand that yields that bottom line, you will sell it hand over fist for top dollar.
Right.
But then we go back to, how do you prove it? Back to the cheeky conversation about what's your best one? This one. Prove it. With these systems, you can. Because you just keep clicking. Because it's all linked. It's in one place.
Around the houses.
And you just say, well, where's that invoice come from there? What did they buy? They bought this. What's the profit margin? It's there. It's this. What's the profit margin on that job? Why when Fred does it, do you get 12% net, but when Boris does it, you get 18% net? Because there's no recalls. Why? Because he's a better trained. He's a more highly qualified resource. And even though he costs more, so he's 45 quid an hour, and he's 25 quid an hour, he costs more, so you think we make less margin. He doesn't get it wrong, ever. But 1 in 100. He gets 1 in 5 wrong. So we have to send the expensive guy out to fix it, which erodes the margin. And that stuff's hidden inside the workings of a business.
Right.
But with these systems, it's not.
Yeah.
Because you can just literally in minutes build the report that says it.
Yeah.
And we've not got there's plenty of them. There's a choice of these things. But so yeah, if I can find a business that needs the benefit of that and that my business partners like, then we'll look at it seriously. We're closing some deals hopefully in the next 2 weeks.
What types of businesses are they? You know what I'm asking? Like, are they in complete different sectors? Are they similar sectors? Have you got a preferred choice of type of business?
It's probably easier to say the sectors I've been in. So wholesale distribution, buying stuff and selling it, either B2B or B2C.
Okay.
So it's online. Sometimes we'll sell it to people with shops. Sometimes we'll sell it to people with stores. So it's drop ship. Drop ship means that they order it on behalf of their customer and we deliver it direct to their customer.
Yep.
Right.
So there's less handling, less cost.
Yep.
There's an import business. There's an engineering business I bought. There's a couple of software businesses along the way, but that's what I did.
Yeah.
I'm not a software guy. I can't write a line of code.
Yeah.
But what I've always been okay at is generating the demand. Part of the challenge you have is when your business is doing like 0 to 100 grand, it's a job really. So you generate the demand. From 100 grand to 1 million, you can still kind of do that. But once you get to a certain point, you need a process and a system and people to keep the demand going. Otherwise, you've got a hungry monster and you can't feed it.
Yes.
And everybody gets to that level. And we're getting in this software game to that level. But going back to the things we did at day one, I quite like the putting the processes in so anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's all coming back to the same thing: the policy, process, system, and training people how to do it.
Yeah. Is there businesses at the kind of level you were talking about, that kind of entry level, a couple $100,000, start to go into a couple of million, they are going to need these systems. But as you said earlier, they come at a cost. So, I mean, do you see businesses that are probably struggling because they need the product, but they can't quite get the product? They're in that maybe like halfway house point of view. I'll tell you why I'm saying that, is because my background previously was in the motor trade.
Okay.
And a system like you're talking about would have been absolutely perfect. And without going into too much detail, for obvious reasons, what my biggest gripe was is what you've got the solution to the problem is.
Okay.
They had all these systems, individual systems, and they were all given so much misconstrued information and so many almost headed departments arguing with each other. I'm right, no, I'm right, I'm right, when they could have had a system like yours. Now, that company could have had a system like yours because it was a company turning,
It was big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why they never did that, I don't know. But that's,
People don't know about it.
That's a
Even
story
now.
maybe
Been going
for
50
off
years,
camera.
I don't know.
But I don't know. When clients come on board with you, is there ever a decision of that? Can they afford it? Can they not afford it? Type sort of scenario.
Every time.
Almost. Yeah.
And if we can afford it, that's a big number. Is it worth it? And so part of what I have to do is explain why it's worth it.
Right.
And the more you can land that message in the real world, then the more chance you have.
Yeah.
It's these days it's more common to have people who who are looking for it. So, but in 20 years ago, no one had ever heard of it.
Yeah.
And but now with cloud computing, I mean, 20 years. Interesting. We're a little business in the whole scheme of the world. We're a tiny little business. We do millions, but we're still a tiny little business.
Yeah.
Right? The Google's 20 years old as well. We're 20 years old this year. Google's 20 years old this year. Wow. Talk about comparing yourself to giants.
Yeah.
I heard that the other day on the radio. Google's
Yeah.
20 this year, and I thought, so are we.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
And just like we both started at the same time, and look what they did, and look what
Yeah.
I managed.
Yeah.
It was a different idea, different business, but it's a nice time to reflect.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they changed the world. That Google's changed. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was either Google or YouTube I was thinking of. I can't remember which it was. But they changed. Either one of them changed the world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose you're right. Either one of them most definitely has. And you go back to especially YouTube now, and go back to the world we spoke about a minute ago in marketing. It's like, the
When we had
biggest.
nothing.
Sorry?
When we had nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing now that the amount of people who can start off with nothing and through these channels become something.
And if you haven't got it, you
Yeah.
lose. If
Yeah.
you don't do it, you lose, which goes back to the bit about how you feeling about having a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like jumping out of a plane, just got to get on with it. And
Yeah.
the ground's rushing up really fast.
If there's anybody out there who's listening, because obviously our guests have got from various different sectors with various different listeners, then for anybody who's thinking about starting a business, whether it's something like yourself or a very low level, you can have a very low level business
100%.
and make a lot of money and still be very successful and have a good life. If there's anybody who's maybe on the risk to take a risk, any advice to somebody who's maybe want to take the leap, I don't know.
Loads of advice. I'm just trying to think out what would be the most helpful.
What's the most helpful in one wee bit?
Yeah. There's a guy called Dan Priestley who owns a company called Dent. Go and read his stuff. Go and watch his videos. He's got, and if you think I can do all that, go for it. And if you can't, do all that before you can start.
Okay.
Dent.global are help people who are not starting out necessarily, but at the next level, and then the next level above that. And they have a program that you can go through. I've been through the program myself to see if I was missing a trick, and I was. So I found it helpful myself. They have this 5P program. It doesn't matter what it is, but go and have a look. His written books, he's very good. He's got a team behind him. It's an international business. And so I'd say start there and just learn a bit and see if what you think you're getting into and what they match up. And if they don't, he's right. So
Yeah.
make sure
Trust
you can
him.
do that. And also, in the old days, like 40 years ago, if you could make scissors, you could sell them. Somebody would want them. These are made of Sheffield steel. This is the best steel there is. Oh, well, I'll have some then. And we'll sharpen them for free. Oh, right, well, I'll have two then. Right? It isn't like that anymore. Amazon and Google have changed everything.
Yeah.
So now I can get 1 million pairs of scissors for £1, and then they're disposable. So it's a different game.
Yeah.
The guys who win are the ones who control the traffic. And so you need to be able to generate demand and control it. Doesn't mean you need to be good at doing the work. You just need to be controlling the flow of information. You need to be amongst it. You need to get your name out there, and you need to be an authority on what it is you're doing. And that's what all this is all about.
Yeah.
If you're authentic as well, I think that's how it cuts through, because there's so much nonsense online. I'm trying to learn the right language to describe what this is like, but there's so much noise, it's difficult to cut through. And the thing that seems to resonate with people isn't trust or honesty, it's authenticity. Whilst those things are important,
Yeah, of course.
it's the thing that seems to cut through is, well, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what we're doing, chatting.
Yeah.
And it seems that that's what's missing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these kind of forums are really helpful. So what would I say to answer your question? Read KPI, Key Person of Influence by Dan Priestley.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at the Dent things online and see if it matches up to what you think you're getting into, because that's what you're really getting into.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't generate demand, don't bother, because the hardest thing in business is getting a customer, and the second hardest thing is keeping them.
Keeping them.
And if you can get them and not keep them, you've got a revolving door.
Yeah.
If you can get them and not keep them, start. If you can't get them, you can't start.
Yeah.
And if you can keep them but not get, it's rare where if you can't keep them, then you won't get to the position where you can keep them and not get them, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I'd trying to distill it.
Well, listen,
Five things.
I think that's a great way to end. I think that's great advice. I've certainly learned a lot. We've covered a lot of different subjects and bounced in and out, but I think we wanted to cover a lot, in the short period of time we've got you. I've certainly learned a lot myself.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you coming up.
No,
I appreciate your
lovely to meet you
time.
guys. Thank you.